Inventory is a pain, especially in a restaurant where ingredients are constantly being consumed. Don't fight against the nature of your business. Schedule inventory counts when it will be easiest for you and your employees. For instance, during downtime or when inventory is at a minimum. Whatever you do, do not skip this important task. Keeping an accurate inventory is key for meeting customer demand and maximizing your restaurant's profit. Make sure that inventory counts are promptly updated in your inventory software or spreadsheets. Accounting software is useless if it doesn't match reality. So make sure that your software is up to date. Spreadsheetsforbusiness.com, by the way, has a useful inventory control spreadsheet that you can download along with 6 other handy spreadsheets. Here's a quick look at that inventory control worksheet. Again, like I said, it's part of a group of other spreadsheets that I made specifically for restaurants. We'll talk about that a little more later. I'll put a link to the video, post, and form where you can download that spreadsheet in the description. Speaking of software, utilize technology as much as you can. You are busy. Take advantage of any reasonably priced help that you can get. Um, Speaking of links, I'll put a link to this video along with the accompanying post down in the description too. Restaurant managers and owners have to juggle a lot of different responsibilities. They also have to be knowledgeable in a number of different areas. Scheduling, ordering, prepping, costing, pricing, setting a menu, and of course, inventory control are just a few of those responsibilities. By the way, if you'd like help with those responsibilities, again, check out my Why Spreadsheets Are Your Restaurant's Best Friend video, post, and templates. That link is down in the description. If any of those responsibilities are cumbersome or disproportionately time consuming, it might be tempting to stop doing them, or at least to stop doing them correctly. While they're all important tasks, inventory control might seem like one of them where you can kind of skimp on. Maybe it's too much of a pain in the butt, or maybe it seems so simple that you just kind of handle it half heartedly. If that's the case, hopefully, this video and post will help you identify some best practices to tighten up your inventory control and help your restaurant's bottom line. Organization will help make your restaurant inventory control much, much easier. So, if you're a naturally organized person, then you probably have an advantage. If not, I would advise that you do your best to implement some of these organizational principles. You will be glad you did. One of the ways you can organize is by breaking your restaurant up into different inventory areas. For instance, coolers, dry storage, preparation, bar, so on and so on. These different areas can serve as categories if you decide to utilize the Why Spreadsheets Are Your Restaurant's Best Friend inventory control tool. Here's the inventory control worksheet. As you can see, there's an entire column over here for categories, and you can see those categories carry over here to the pivot table, and it will sum the inventory value by category, which just gives you a little better insight and understanding of which categories of your inventory have the highest value. Also, you hired employees so that you could accomplish more than you could by yourself. So don't hesitate to use these assets when it comes to inventory control. 3 trusted people handling inventory control will likely make the job more than 3 times easier. Whatever accounting costing method you decide to use for your inventory control in your restaurant, that's up to you. But when it comes to actually pulling and consuming inventory, I would strongly recommend that you use the first in, first out, or FIFO method. This helps ensure that spoilage is minimized. Consolidate inventory as you go. Doing so will save space, leave room for new deliveries, and reduce the clutter in your restaurant. Uh, Along with disposing of expired inventory, this should make the teeth grinding task of inventory control a little quicker and easier. How hard can it be to count? You might be asking yourself. I run a successful restaurant. I'm no idiot. And right you are. You know how to count. But have you ever considered when to count? There are 2 answers to that question. The first thing to decide is how often to count. Daily, weekly, monthly. It's up to you. I wouldn't suggest that you do it any less frequently than monthly, though. Things are liable to start getting out of hand if you wait that long. How often to count depends in large part on the amount of inventory you carry. If you carry a lot, then you should probably count more often. One thing to consider is when you receive most of your deliveries. Ideally, you'll be counting shortly before that so that you can minimize the amount of counting you have to do. The other thing to think about when deciding to count inventory is what part of the day you should do it. That answer is a little easier. Counting inventory before or after operating hours will save you a ton of hassle. Finally, make sure that you count using a consistent unit of measure, UOM. You don't want to count something in gallons one week and ounces the next. Also, no matter how often you count, no matter what UOM you use, make sure that you update your quantities on hand in your software, even if that software is just a spreadsheet. Now that you know your inventory quantities, it's time to address the other side of the inventory value equation, unit cost. Food costs are very volatile. Plus, ingredient usage can be hard to track. Therefore, it's probably best to use your last purchase order cost. This should be pretty accurate if you're counting your inventory on a fairly frequent basis. Using your last purchase order cost will help ensure that your inventory value and cost of goods sold COGS is accurate. Looking up cost after every inventory count will also help you to stay on top of changes. You'll have a better intuition about what's eating into your profit or helping your bottom line from an ingredient standpoint. I know you didn't get into restaurant business to count and look up costs. Again, utilize help from your staff where you can. COGS is a huge driver of restaurant profitability, so it pays to manage this stuff carefully. Staying on top of your food costs will help you make sure that you're pricing appropriately and staying profitable. Speaking of costing and pricing, again, I would suggest you check out my Why Spreadsheets Are Your Restaurant's Best Friend templates, specifically the food costing worksheet. On it, you can scale recipes up and down and get a suggested price based on the costs and your desired markup percentage. As I said, I will put a link to those down in the description. As I mentioned, here's a look at that spreadsheet. You can, again, scale recipes up and down here, list the ingredients, the bulk cost. That'll break that down into a cost per recipe and will give you a cost per serving to the customer. With that information and a desired markup percentage, you can get a suggested price to make sure you are charging an appropriate amount for a given recipe. I go into this spreadsheet and all the others into more detail in that video, but just wanted to give you a look at it here. Understanding your costs and the profitability of every dish that you serve will help you make smarter menu decisions. You'll know what to promote more and what to drop off your menu. You certainly don't have to use my worksheet, but utilize technology to the fullest extent you can. You're busy, so take every advantage that you can get to work more efficiently and effectively. Finally, staying on top of inventory quantities, costs, and usage will help you be proactive in catching instances of theft and loss. If you're not managing these things, then you can probably see how theft and loss would easily slip through the cracks. Excess inventory is a problem for every business, but restaurants in particular. Overordering inventory takes up valuable space and it's a waste of money. Even if the inventory gets used in the restaurant before it expires, it's still like sitting money on a shelf, money that you could have used to earn a better ROI elsewhere. Money tied up in excess inventory could be used to buy ingredients that you are consistently running out of and therefore losing sales on, or it could be used to hire more staff that could help you, I don't know, count inventory. Taking consistent inventory counts and tracking usage will also help you pinpoint and deter theft. Unfortunately, dealing with potential theft is just a part of running a restaurant. Everybody likes food, and a lot of people like alcohol. Therefore, the risk of theft runs higher for restaurants than it might for other businesses. Tracking inventory is nobody's idea of fun, but by staying on top of it, you can avoid inventory catastrophes, which everyone agrees are downright painful. So, get all the practical help you can by utilizing software or spreadsheets. Be sure to do your homework on any software you're looking to pay for and get the training that you and your staff need to use it effectively. In many cases, especially if you're a smaller restaurant, relatively simple spreadsheets might make more sense than specialized software. They take a bit to set up and they are certainly not foolproof, but they are almost 100% customizable. Restaurants, like all other businesses, strive to get as many benefits as they can from the costs they incur. Remember, though, that costs can also be measured in time. Keep that in mind when considering software tools to help you work more efficiently and effectively. Botkeeper handles the bookkeeping so you can focus on running your restaurant. Botkeeper calls themselves the future of bookkeeping. You get all the perks of an experienced bookkeeper, but at a far lower cost. They provide clients with multi-level support. One customer said, without their help, I have no idea how we would have gotten everything ready for our acquisition. If you're interested in Botkeeper, you can click on the link down in the description. Here are a couple questions about restaurant inventory. I pulled these from Quora.com. First question was, how can I manage all of my inventory in a restaurant? Fundamentals of managing inventory in a restaurant include consistent inventory counts, keeping track of costs, and understanding usage. Get buy-in from your employees to help with these tasks and utilize software tools to manage your restaurant inventory efficiently and effectively. Second question, how much food inventory is lost due to spoilage at the average restaurant? From what I was able to gather, it's estimated that 4% to 10% of food in restaurants is lost to spoilage, theft, or waste. With food costs making up approximately 30% of a restaurant's total costs, excess waste can really hurt your bottom line. Therefore, it makes sense to learn about and implement policies regarding smart inventory management. Finally, last question, what are the best mobile and tablet apps for restaurant inventory? Well, one app you might try out is called Fishbowl. Fishbowl is a software tool built that connects to QuickBooks Online. This is nice because your inventory control will directly tie in with your accounting software. Speaking of QuickBooks Online, I've written several posts and made several videos on that subject. I will put a link to some of those in the description too. Now, to be clear, I haven't tried Fishbowl. I cannot speak personally to its effectiveness. However, it did appear to be well reviewed, so I think it would be worth checking out if you're looking for a mobile or tablet app besides Spreadsheets to handle your restaurant inventory. Thank you if you liked and or subscribed to the channel. If you think that this video helped you understand restaurant inventory a little better, feel free to give it a like. Feel free to subscribe if you would like to keep Spreadsheets for Business in your sidebar and be notified of any new videos. Thanks for watching. Take care.